Well, hello, Pueblo. We're doing yet another Pueblo Matters interview on KOYC Radio 98.5 FM low power. And today we have Sam Ebersole, Doctor of Philosophy?
PhD, you bet.
PhD? What's your PhD in? What's your specialty in that? Do you get a specialty in PhD?
Yeah.
What is it?
Communication.
Communication.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
But not interpersonal, not speech, media.
Media.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Media effects, more specifically.
So, if we had announcements on this radio, you would make go doing 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 like that. Or what would you? What do you mean by that?
Media effects is the way that studying the way that media impacts society, how it has individual effects, micro effects, macro effects on society at large. So I studied a lot of theories about how people consume media and how that affects their life.
Is it true that the attention span has shrunk?
Oh, absolutely.
What is it down to now? I
It's
knew
about,
it was
about
7
the same
seconds.
as a goldfish.
So it's that low, huh?
No, it's pretty low, yeah.
Is it less than 7 seconds? It used to be 7
Well,
seconds.
it's such a personal thing. It's hard to say, what it is in general. But I don't actually have a number for you, but it is definitely shrinking. And this is going to be one of the things I want to talk about today is the distractions in the classroom, and screens and social media are doing great damage, and we need to do something about it. So.
Do you have any ideas what might be done?
Oh, I do, but let's hold off on that for a minute because that's a whole topic.
Ssure.
But you asked about my degree, my PhD. My dissertation actually was doing research in 10 Colorado public schools, 5 middle schools, 5 high schools around the state, both urban and rural, looking at, and this was back in the late 90s when the interwebs was the big thing, looking at the effect of having access to the World Wide Web in classrooms.
Did you notice a change from when you started to when you finished that study?
Well, the study, the data collection was over the span of really 9 months. So I wouldn't say I noticed any change from beginning to end in that time period. But certainly I've observed a lot of change since then. I mean, obviously, the big thing is we've gone from Web 1.0 to Web 2.0 to whatever the AI social media algorithm web is now. So a lot of changes since then. But back then it was interesting to see what kids thought the internet was for and then what they actually did with it. So we collected data surveying the students themselves, self-reported survey data, and then we also collected URLs of sites visited. As an engineer, you would appreciate this, I think. Software engineer, we collected URLs of sites visited on those school computers and compared them to what students said they were doing with their internet access.
And they were different.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think if I ask you what you do with the internet and what you actually do, it would be different, not because you're necessarily trying to hide anything or misrepresent who you are or what you do. It's just that we're not as aware, I don't think, of what our motives and intentions are sometimes.
Right.
And algorithms have a way of changing them anyway. So.
Well, I feel like I waste a lot of time on watching podcasts. And so my podcast watching is gardening, electrical energy generation and distribution and so on, with the idea of what can we do in Pueblo to not let our rates rise any more than they've already done. And data centers. How can we get data centers to work here? What else do I watch? Oh, political stuff.
Should we talk about nuclear energy, by the way?
We can. We can.
Maybe much later when we run out of interesting things to talk about.
Oh, no, that's very interesting. So yeah, let's get back to your campaign. You're running for District 70.
That's correct.
Are there districts now?
Yeah, District 3.
You're in District 3.
Yes.
And
I actually live on a street that is one of the borders. So if I lived across the street, I would be running in District 1, which is not up for... there's no one running this year for that.
Wow. And if you were on a cul-de-sac and you had the house at the end...
it'd be tricky. I don't know.
They'd probably go with odd even, I imagine.
Maybe.
Yeah. So, how long did it take you to decide to run?
Some folks approached me and asked me if I would consider it, and I think I a couple days, thought about it, and decided. So, and then a lot of people asked me, "Do you know what you're getting into?" And I said, "No." And part of me has wondered that very same question: what am I getting myself into? So, but by that time, I had committed. I committed to the folks who asked me. I had already gone down and I collected signatures to get on the ballot. That's the first step. Turned those in, and here we are. And now it's only 4 weeks away. Not even that. People are going to start voting next week.
Yep.
So
I've not myself have not had a large campaign. I decided not to have financial campaign. I just self-funded, but I haven't really bought any signs or done anything. Just gone to speeches and met people at events.
And this is for Waterboard.
This is for Waterboard. But what have you done as far as campaigning?
That's interesting. I kind of had the same mindset. I thought I'll do public events. I'll show up for podcasts. I'll give interviews. And I really didn't think I was going to do all that much. But I've had people who have been very adamant that they want a more robust campaign. I've had folks create signs for me. I mean, big signs. I just ordered an hour. Within the last hour, I ordered yard signs, which seems late, but I mean, again, a lot of people don't even think about this until it's a week out. So, but I'm going to put some yard signs out there.
The ballot has to arrive before they wake up.
That's true.
In these days, I mean, It used to be you'd go in person to your local school and
Right.
go to the rooms that had your precinct and do your thing there.
Exactly.
But we don't do that anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
But people might make a decision within the next few days, and then once they
Right.
get their ballot, they'll fill it out and they'll send it back, and that they won't even be anyone I can recruit at that point. So I guess I need to keep going. So some folks that are running with me together had some, not a pamphlet, just kind of a document made, and then we have some door hangers that we'll give to folks who want to help our campaign by going around and hanging them on doors. But that's about the extent of what I've done. Yeah.
Right. Is that a quarter or a third of a 8.5 by 11? You said cardboard.
I didn't make it, so it looks like it's a third.
Yeah, third.
Yeah.
May I see it?
Yeah. And so this is out of Forging Pueblo, and the
Oh, yes,
candidates that they're
right.
supporting are the ones listed on that particular. I don't know, what do you call that?
Forging Pueblo?
No, that piece of paper in your hand.
I would call it collateral.
Collateral. Okay.
Yeah, this would be a piece of collateral.
There you go.
And do you have to be a Christian to be on this pamphlet?
That certainly is a motivating principle of a belief to be part of Forging Pueblo. I think people can join Forging Pueblo without making any commitment of faith. But I think the candidates that they vet, they are looking for people who hold to Christian tenets. So I would say all those people probably check that box.
Right.
Yeah.
I just recently read or watched a podcast showing that they found a house first floor, basically, a foundation, I don't know if it was a foundation, but it was at least a wooden floor. And they've measured the wood as to how old it is. Now, this is science, so, I mean, it might
Sure.
not, but it was 476,000 years old.
Okay.
So that predates the Bible.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting.
Is a house with wood floors? that
It was not a
built-
house.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It was like a platform
Okay.
that had fitted,
Sure.
I don't know if it was nailed, but
Yeah.
put together pieces of wood that would be something you could sweep.
But the wood was that old, so it wasn't
Well,
necessarily.
yes, right.
It wasn't
right.
necessarily that the structure was built that long ago. But yeah, you would have to assume that the wood was a tree at one point. And the
Right.
tree was.
Yeah, I'm sure they didn't do ring measurements.
Right.
Get back that far. I don't think our
The
ring.
carbon
our
dating or
rig-
something.
Yeah, I don't know how they did it, but you know how these scientists are. They have
Sure.
methods.
They have methods.
They have methods. So anyway, what are your do you want to get into your tenets? What's your points
Sure.
that you want to do, or
Sure.
is it too soon, or have we warmed up enough?
I'm warm.
You're warm.
I'm not
It is getting warm in here.
I'm
Isn't
not
it?
uncomfortable, but I'm
Oh,
warm.
Okay, great. So what points do you have?
So
I think I've heard them before.
I had to come up with a platform. Well, were you there for one of the
Yes,
chamber?
but I might have been.
You were recording,
I might have been screwing around with my camera.
Yeah.
Which, by the way,
did that get posted anywhere?
no, I didn't post anything.
Okay.
You wanted me to?
I was just curious how I came across because I felt a little nervous, which is a little odd for someone who's been standing up in front of people and talking for 30 some years. Just was a little. I don't know if I came across that way. I was kind of curious.
Well, you don't seem nervous at all right now.
I'm not at all right now.
Yeah,
You're a very relaxed guy yourself, and the fact that you have overalls on, helps.
Don't tell anyone.
Oh, I'm not supposed to say what
No,
you're wearing?
don't say that.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's all about the cortisol.
Is that what it is?
It's all about the cortisol. You have to keep your cortisol low.
Yeah.
In order, my blood rate, what is it called, heart rate?
Yeah.
And they want it to be variable too.
Sure.
I measured it this morning. It was 42.
That's low.
It is low. and I was relaxed last night on the couch, and it was 40.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pretty soon, you better make sure it's still ticking because,
Well, that's what they say the pacemaker does for you. That it sets you at 60, and then you have more energy. But I don't know. I don't feel like I need energy.
It's funny because I just got a smartwatch, an old version, but I got a smartwatch, and it does that now. So it tracks my
variable heart rate,
beat per minute, and all that.
Does it do the heart rate variability?
I think so.
Though,
I mean, I'm still figuring out. It's tied to Fitbit, so it does a number of things that I haven't really worked on yet. But I have noticed that my resting heart rate is down in the 40s, and I thought, wow, I'm pretty relaxed.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You're gonna live a long time. My goal is 40 more years.
And how old are you? Are you
74.
Okay.
So that would make me 114.
Right. That's old.
That would be old.
Now, my dad recently passed.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just a year ago. But he was 98 and a half, so.
Well, that half is important.
It was to him. He was really hoping to hit 100. No, he wasn't. He was actually very ready to go. But, for him, when you would ask him how old he is, he was proud of the extra half. So he wasn't just 98.
Have you heard of Helen and Scott Nearing?
No.
They wrote a book. He was a communist, and he was old, and she married him as a young woman.
Okay.
And he lived to be 100, over 100. He stopped eating at 100. On his 100th birthday, he stopped eating. He only had water after that. And he passed in his 100th year. But he had decided that he was. But they wrote a book called The Good Life. I think I have 2 copies. And it's about exercising, building stone walls, doing that kind of work.
Right.
And I think vegetarian. And so he did live to, and he was like part of the original organic food growing stuff in the 30s and 40s. So it'd be interesting to hit 100 and stop eating.
I'm in my late 60s, and I figure that each decade I'm going to. I jokingly told my wife this. I'm going to start living a more risky lifestyle each decade that I hit. So when I hit 70, 80, 90, I just.
Yeah.
I don't want to go out with a fizzle and a.
So do you have a regular job?
The regular job that I retired from in 2021 was up at the university. My regular job since then is various video projects. So I still do video documentary and production type things. And then I have a quarter-time gig working as a trainer for a news organization, Global News Alliance. And in fact, I was telling you earlier, I'm going over to Rwanda to do training with African media professionals who are gathering for a conference. A bunch of them are coming from Sudan, South Sudan. They're low-power radio folks from Radio South Sudan who are coming to this conference, and we're going to be training them in smartphone journalism techniques so that they can enhance their reach and their impact of what they're doing over there.
Is it a hilly country? Do you know?
Sudan, where the low power is? Interesting. I asked that question. They are looking for hills to put their
transmitter on, yeah.
Yeah. But it's not, I think part of it is, but I think most of it's fairly flat, I think.
Huh. Now, is Rwanda one of those countries that in the 90s was very dangerous?
Well, Rwanda was where the big Tutsi Hutu massacre was. If you saw the movie
Oh, yes.
Hotel Rwanda, was that the name of the movie?
I think so.
Yeah, so that massacre was a terrible thing, genocide, and that was, that nation is still coming back from that. I mean, you
Right.
had the Khmer Rouge in Cambodia, which was awful. You had the Soviet thing. You had China, millions and millions of people killed. So when these either authoritarian dictators take over, or you have tribal uprisings where one group, just goes to war with another, it can be horrific, and that's what happened in Rwanda. So the world has really come in to try to rebuild Rwanda once that genocide happened, because I think there was a lot of guilt, that governments felt.
My first ex-wife wrote to Perot. What's his name? Ross Perot.
Ross
And
Perot,
we actually got a letter back from his sister, who was his correspondence person,
Okay.
and she was asking him to do something, because he had done things like rescue people in the Middle East and do other things, having been in the military. But yeah, I think there was a lot of guilt that was here, but our government didn't do anything for the longest time. I don't know if they are now, but you are. So.
Well, just trying to provide training for folks who I think are doing a good work over there, using radio to give people everything from hope to, health information to, just keeping people informed of what's going on,
Right.
So.
Well, best of luck. I mean,
And they're solar powered units, by the way.
solar powered.
Radios. And generators.
In what way?
Well, solar power, I guess, for all of the
But they're DC.
office stuff.
They're direct current.
Well,
I mean, is that all? That's all that means? And they have some panels. What is it?
They do have. Some of them can operate off the grid, either with a generator or solar power. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they come in two suitcases. I mean, the transmitter's in one and the production board's in the other, and now the antenna they have to put up on site, but.
Yeah.
They just stick it on a long irrigation pipe pole. And
this would be racist. Do you think it'll be a stone antenna tower, or do you think it'll be metal?
Metal.
It'll be metal for sure.
I'm pretty sure. Well, I actually seen some photos of them raising them, and actually I think some of them, they're like, it's not bamboo, because I don't think they have bamboo there, but it looks like, Oh, actually, I think that's the irrigation pipe is what the actual antenna is on top of. Is this long
they took an
pipe.
irrigation pipe, which they happen to have,
Yes,
and put it up. Great. Yeah. Well, wait till after this interview, we can take a look at this antenna.
Okay.
It's just slipshod. So
is it on top of the house?
No,
it's
a tower.
Okay.
But it's a ham tower.
Okay.
So it's not as tall as it could be if
Right.
we were better situated here. But
you ask about my platform. How did we get off on talking about low power?
Because it's what I do, man.
Radio.
It's what I do.
Look, a squirrel.
Yeah.
So
it's the attention span.
It is. That's we're all victims. So when people asked me to run, I decided to run. Got the signatures to get on the ballot, and I thought, well, I probably need a platform. So thought I have to come up with something clever. So my slogan is based on the grading scale, A, B, C, D, F. So A, B, C, D, F, A, better choice for D70 families. That's my slogan. Now my platform uses the same A, D, C, D, F. A is for academic achievement. B is for balance, and I can expand on these in a minute. C is for constituents, and ties back to family because that's who I want to represent. D is for distractions, which is the thing that could consume all of our remaining speaking time if we wanted to. And then F is for future. It could have been families, but families are my constituents, so I put future down there because I think we need to be preparing students for not the current thing that's happening, but what's down the road, which is tricky. But I think it has to include AI because I think that's going to change everything for students in terms of their career choices, employment. The reality they're going to live in is an AI environment, I think.
So I worked with artificial intelligence refugees that came from MIT and Stanford artificial intelligence labs. They were from the 60s. They were refugees.
Oh, no kidding.
No
Wow.
kidding. and they had left the work of artificial intelligence, DARPA funded, of course,
Yeah.
and had gone into mainframe computer design, and it was a very interesting crew of people
Yeah.
to deal with.
Were they pessimistic like Gregory Hinton?
No, they had soda machines that you could dial
Oh.
in, and you could have your monthly tab on the soda machine. And
So they were okay with it.
they were doing stuff, yeah. And in the 70s, no, 80s, I worked with some actual neural network engineers who were doing early work on artificial intelligence, and they had like 2 tokens or something, and it wasn't all that great, but they worked on it. Yeah, it was fun. So A, B, C, D, and F. So D70 is D. F is for
Well,
future.
in the slogan, D70 is the D, but in the platform, D is distraction.
Okay, right. Distraction.
The slogan and the platform are
And F is future,
yeah,
and A is academic success,
academic achievement, yeah,
achievement. B is
balance.
balance, and C is not competency.
No. C is my constituents.
Constituents. All right.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So
So which one do you want? I can honestly D. I could talk all afternoon on, but
let's talk about D for 5 minutes.
distraction.
Yes,
Okay,
distraction.
because you brought up the point about our attention span. So I think the combination of screens and social media are toxic for teenagers in general, but in an academic setting, are even worse. If you can get worse than toxic, I'm not sure. But the state decided, well, we need to have a policy about this. And you know what their policy is? That every
No.
school district has to have a policy.
Uh-huh.
Whoop-de-doo.
That's it. They just
Yeah.
have to have a
The
policy.
policy
they
is
don't have to do anything.
You have to have a policy. Now, I went into the school board 6 months ago, maybe more now, and because this was a concern of mine well before I even thought about running for school board. So I went in and made a pitch, and I said, this is something we need to get in front of, not react to when it's too late. Have you read the book The Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haidt?
No, I haven't. But I did bring a book for you to look
A
at.
fellow like you should read it.
Okay.
I think it's a game changer, and I know it is because of the number of countries and states and cities and school districts that are making policies because of that book. That book has shaken the educational establishment because he makes a very clear connection between the rise of smartphones and social media and decline of teenagers' mental health in general, and its effect on performance in schools. So, I think it's a no-brainer. Think about it.
Tell me the title and author again.
The Anxious Generation.
The Anxious Generation.
Jonathan Haidt, Haidt.
Haidt.
And if you like his writing, which I think you will, you should go back and read a book that he wrote before that called, it was right there, The Righteous Mind.
The Righteous Mind.
Yes, I would like to endorse both of those
The
books.
first one. You recommend them.
Yeah,
For everyone?
highly.
For everyone?
Everybody, especially parents, but everybody.
So this is the book I'm currently reading.
I recognize that cover, I think. Oh, no, Abigail Schroyer. I know the name. I think I have seen the cover.
She's got a new book out, too,
Yeah.
which is Why Our Children Are Not Growing Up, basically.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's similar. There's a similar vein to Mr. Haidt.
Yes. Well, his two arguments are that smartphones and social media are toxic and creating mental health issues for kids. But the other piece of it, which the book doesn't focus on quite as much, is we've removed from our kids the opportunity for play and social interaction. Because everybody's staring at their phones, they're not on the playground, they're not playing and they're not interacting with each other. They're just interacting in that virtual space, not real human interaction. So it's two pieces. It's, it's the distraction part, but it's also that they're not getting enough of that free time, free thinking. I was raised as a free range child. I don't know about you.
Well, sort of. I mean, we used to play capture the flag across the whole town.
Yeah.
Is that?
And you have to be back by dark.
I'm talking
maybe?
miles.
Yeah.
What is the other team's strategy going to be today? And you plan your stuff, and you might never even run into them.
That was some of the most important development, I think, probably in our child. And now the opposite would be, the helicopter parent, always right there making decisions for the child. Mm-hmm. The child doesn't have any chance to make decisions of their own. They don't, if they're bored, we give them something.
Right.
Boredom's a great thing. It's a wonderful thing. It's a great motivator.
Kids, we raised goats. My kids went out and played in piles of goat poop. That they had moved out of the barn. And they
survived.
Oh yeah, they survived.
Yeah. Thrived even, probably.
Yeah, they did.
So
we got distracted.
We did. I was going somewhere and I forgot where I was going.
It's all right.
But that book was formative for me. I went in and made the pitch to the school board. I think there's been some movement, but I'm not as far as I'd like to see it go. So some school districts are saying, okay, bell to bell is phone free. Okay. Starting bell to the ending bell.
Is full and free.
Sorry, phone free.
Oh, phone free.
Yeah, no phones, bell to bell.
Okay.
Other schools are saying, well, just when you go into the class, you have to put it in thing, lock it up in the pouch or in thing or something. So no phones out in class, but you can have them in the hall in between. You can have them during lunch. You can, But here's the problem with having it during lunch. Lunch is when you should be sitting at a table interacting
with
exactly
right.
With students, not, again, staring at your phone or doing the latest dance for TikTok and uploading it. Bullying in classrooms is a serious problem. So much of that results because of what people are doing online. It spills over into the real world with real world bullying. And plus, there's bullying that happens online.
Raises their cortisol.
It does. By the way, do you have a remedy for keeping your cortisol in check?
I have let me just pull out my smartphone. I have an app that I use that has a continuous glucose monitor. And see, here's my glucose for the day. And this is because I'm here with you. Is
that good or bad? It's
not bad.
Okay.
That's not bad.
Okay.
But it's glucose, not direct cortisol measurement.
Gotcha.
Right. But so do they have yet a policy on watches and rings and smart glasses?
That's so that it needs to be
comprehensive. That's kind of stuff you want to get in front of.
That, and here's the other thing in District 70. I don't know where it starts. Is it middle school, high school? Where it's one laptop per child. So they issue a nice MacBook Air to every child.
Uh-huh.
Kids are smart. So they're pretty locked down from what I understand. Now, I need to talk to some tech friends about this to verify. They're pretty smart. But I think the kids with their phone can hotspot to the laptop and do whatever they want. They can be playing video games, doing whatever. The reason this became a concern of mine was after I retired from CSU Pueblo, Professor Emeritus in 2021, is the middle of COVID. I wasn't doing a lot. I wasn't traveling the world quite as much as I am right now. And I had some time on my hands, and I knew they needed substitute teachers. So, and I live walking distance to the high school.
Perfect.
I said, okay, I'll do it.
Pueblo West?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, of course, you would be surprised how many hoops you have to jump through as a PhD who's had 37 years of teaching experience to be qualified as a substitute teacher, but leaving that aside. So I went over, and I didn't do a lot, but I did some substitute teaching. I was shocked at the amount of addictive behavior on exhibit with kids in their phones. And I would tell them, we're doing this is what we're doing today. If you take your phones out, I'm going to take it from you. And I would do it. And they were like, oh man, I ruined their world, for that hour or 40 minutes or whatever it was. So I saw firsthand how addictive it was and how problematic it is for teachers. And I think teachers want help. They want parents and administrators to come alongside and say, we're going to implement policies that are going to help you. In fact, this is a collective problem and needs a collective solution. There are parents who are saying, I don't want to give my middle school student a phone quite yet. or I don't want them to have social media, but they have such peer pressure that they feel like they have to cave to it, right? Well, what if the other kids' parents also said, no, we don't want our kids to have it either. So we will agree together as a community that we're not going to give them a phone, or when we do give them a phone, we're not going to give them social media until they're whatever. So I've heard some people say no phones until out of middle school, which is what, 14, and then no social media until 16. That seems reasonable. But today, every kid, I think, after they turn 10, has a smartphone with social media. It's a little ridiculous. I traveled recently, and I was in a country, I won't mention what country, comparable with America in terms of standard of living, education, all those things.
So France.
Close, very close. And I was waiting for a bus, and there were a bunch of students also waiting for a bus. They use public transportation for school transportation, and they may have been going on a field trip or whatever, but there was at least 40, 50 students there. And I watched them for a while, and I saw one boy for about 30 seconds pull out his phone, look at it, and then put it back in his pocket. Other than that, I saw no phones. So there were a group of those students close to me, and I said to them, may I ask you a question? I'm in education, and I'm just curious. Do you have smartphones? Oh, yeah, we all have smartphones. I'm not seeing anyone using them while you're waiting for the bus. Oh, no, when we're together, we like to talk and do whatever, I'm thinking, man, what a healthy attitude, But you get a group of, 5, 20, however many American kids together, and they're all standing there staring at their screens, doing whatever, comparing their TikTok feeds or whatever they're doing. So I sound like a crotchety old man. I realize
No, you don't.
that.
You don't. You sound like a thinking person who will actually solve problems. Now, I use the ABC method of solving problems as an engineer. Articulate the problem, brainstorm solutions, and then choose or criticize. But you don't choose or criticize until you finish brainstorming, because the brainstorming will stop.
Yeah.
And what you need to say is, okay, that's great. I've got your idea. What else you got?
Yeah.
Because the brainstorming person will come up with more ideas. They don't have just one
There
idea,
you go. Yeah.
right? And then, but you don't brainstorm until you've articulated the problem.
Sure.
And I think what you're saying is that the articulated problem is that we're raising children that have mental illness. I think that's the problem that
I think we're giving them mental illness.
And now you're brainstorming about how do you stop, if you're thinking distraction is the reason that we're raising the children like this.
And smarter people
as a village,
yeah,
as a community.
As smarter people than me have figured this out, and I'm just trying to figure out how do we apply this locally in
Right.
70.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Would you think that you could have separate schools? This is smartphone free, and this one isn't. I mean, you can't quite do that in a single site high school, but
when you do experiments on people,
uh-huh.
like a drug test, you can't give someone something that is toxic and see,
Well, you don't
how
know
does
it's
that affect-
toxic.
Okay, but
But that's criticism. Sorry.
You can't
Keep
you
going.
can't withhold something that would be a cure in the process of trying to determine if this would be an effective treatment. They're ethical and moral. So I would say having two schools, the parents get to
I thought
choose.
you were a media professor, not ethics. So
I think people ought to have ethics regardless.
Okay, great. So
So I don't think you can have both schools and to let people choose, because you would know that you're doing harm to the people.
well, you've got a situation where everyone is harmed. And so now you're asking people, I mean, I'm just saying,
To
if you follow this now,
themselves
you're
out.
self-selective. If you want your child to, like my kids were homeschooled.
Uh-huh.
So we didn't
Were
send
you the
them.
teacher?
No. My
Was your
first
wife?
ex-wife was.
Okay.
Yeah. And
So just to let you know, and this, again, I know this is running for a public school system, District 70. My boys were homeschooled elementary and middle school, and then went to 4 years up at the high school. And they both graduated from Pueblo High School.
sure.
Now, I'm going to brag for a second.
The
okay?
Cyclones.
Yeah. My wife did most of the instruction. I taught a little bit of Latin and some other things,
Perfect.
Their average ACT score, a perfect ACT score?
36.
Yeah. You know what their average was?
33.
35.5.
Uh-huh. My kids were, I had one that was 35.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were quite proud. But, does D70 deserve some of the credit for that? Absolutely. Does my wife, primarily as their homeschool teacher, deserve most of the credit? Absolutely. Were they just born smart? Absolutely. So I mean, they're not typical. They're not.
Most of the brains
It's an
comes
anecdote.
from the female.
I've heard that.
Yes.
I think I heard it from my wife, in fact.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
anyway, all that to say, we have to have a solution for kids that does not. I think we're doing a huge social experiment on them right now, and we've got to stop because we're hurting them.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Well, I wish you luck. I mean,
Thank you.
I don't. I hope you can get the other school board members to be in an ABC brainstorming session where they actually do brainstorming and find out what could be done. Now, I don't know. Maybe you can divide a high school into two halves. This side doesn't have smartphones because their parents have decided that their phones are going to stay home. And this side is parents haven't decided yet.
It would be a perfect and wonderful social experiment, I can tell you that.
Right. So one thing that I've since I divorced my first ex-wife, I've dated a couple teachers. One of them was a teacher at Pueblo West.
Okay.
And one of what was talked about was there are kids that come to school, probably not in District 70, but I don't know, with one shoe and the other one isn't on, or they're not tied and they're hungry, and they may not have parents. So when we talk about the family is going to solve everything, a la focus on the family, these people don't have parents, and so
the parents are missing in action.
the parents are missing it. They could be in jail. They could be, as it said in Pueblo, gone to Hawaii, means they're in jail. And so how do we solve that part of the problem?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
In the ABCDF, where do you see that set of people who aren't necessarily like your family?
right. So yeah, we want intact families. We want mothers and fathers who are engaged with their children's education, who love their children, who provide for their children, who support their children, who provide reasonable discipline so that the child is not a spoiled brat. I mean, okay, this is a perfect scenario, right? We don't live in a perfect world. We are going to have cases like you just described where a child does not have parents at all, or not functioning parents, or the parents are actually a bad influence on the child. The parents are doing drugs or what have you, and the child is raised in that environment. At some point, we look to the state to be a solution. I think it's got to be a last resort because it's always, I think.
How do we look at the state as a solution? What did
Well,
you
I mean,
by that?
the child gets taken into
foster,
protective custody or whatever.
Yeah.
But short of that, yes, all the support systems have to come together to support that child when they have no resources from their family. They have no love and compassion and resources coming from their parents. So what does that look like? Well, the school certainly has a role to play. I mean, it's sad, but it does. I mean, it's sad in the sense that, again, that should be part of the last resort because schools are government entities. But yes, they have to step up and do the right thing, which might mean providing, meals at school, might be helping the child find new clothing, appropriate clothing to wear. It might be giving them a compassionate ear to listen to them, talk about what's of concern at home or wherever.
Right.
So, yeah, the schools that's the sad thing. Schools have to be all things to all people, and sometimes it's a very sad and desperate situation that teachers and administrators are put into.
Faced with, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I've thought that, number one, school should be 5 days a week, so that the number of days in which students are abandoned to their families, not the higher end economic economically families, but the ones at the lower end who are a large percentage of Pueblo, maybe not District 70, but Pueblo District 60 certainly has an issue with lower economic situations. So I've been thinking that schools should be open 5 days a week, 16 hours a day, and serve 3 meals regardless of means testing, and that there is no stigma for eating a free meal. It's everyone is treated equally. Now you could think of this as socialism. They're taking away from the families, but it's not a required 16. I wouldn't think of it as required 16 hours. I would think of it as some teachers come in at noon and they teach noon to 8 or whatever, and
So
some
it's like a
other
community center
well kind
that
of like
offers education.
that whose principal thing is education.
Yeah.
And other teachers might come in at 6 a.m. and teach till 1, and they cross over for that hour
Sure.
with their other teachers, and so, but students could come to school in the morning or the afternoon. They could have morning jobs, they could have afternoon jobs. I just think that, out of the box thinking could make District 70 and District 60 the best school districts in the state, and produce the best outcomes, which you'd have to decide what outcomes you want.
Yeah, but I don't want to suggest that economic, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to suggest that
Adversity.
economic adversity is the same as poor parenting. I was raised in rural Pennsylvania in a very loving, caring family, 6 children, 2 parents who were engaged in there for us. But we were very poor, much poorer than I realized at the time. People always say that I was poor and didn't know it. Yeah, that's kind of how it was for me. So I had a great childhood, great upbringing, but a very poor one. So I don't want to assume that those are complete overlaps. Now I understand that if you have a bad family situation, even if you start out with money, you might not have money for very long, because somehow when you have a family that is broken, I think it leads to poverty. It's kind of the emotional, moral, spiritual poverty translates then into physical poverty. I don't think physical poverty necessarily goes up the ladder, up the chain of command to the way that the families run. So I just want to make sure we're not talking about the same thing.
I'm okay. I just wanted to bring it out to you because
Sure.
you'll be attending school boards, and you'll be dealing with
Only if I'm elected.
No, you'll be elected. So
I don't know. So the person I do have someone who obviously is running for the same position.
well, let's not talk about them.
We're not going to talk about them. Okay.
That's not a campaign strategy you want to go down.
Sure. I'm just saying.
The only
it's
one.
not a guarantee.
The only one is Sam Ebersole.
Okay.
And we're talking with Sam Ebersole here, Dr. Sam Ebersole, ex of CSU Pueblo in communications, and we are on KOIC Radio 98.5 FM low power. Our call-in number, and we sometimes pick it up, is 719-404-3750, and this is interview number 19 in the Pueblo Matters series of interviews, and we'll hope to get it broadcast. Maybe we'll broadcast it on Friday. We'll see.
As in tomorrow.
But normally we broadcast regular episodes recapping Monday's councilor meeting and Tuesday's commissioners meeting, but they were just over the top brutal this week.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was almost fisticuffs. They weren't,
Wow.
but it could have been.
Mm-hmm.
So that one we might rebroadcast Friday, which is normally what we do, but I sure would hope we could get you this interview, because this is a very, very interesting interview, and I hope you hope you win.
Well, thank you. Appreciate
You're
that.
welcome. So
Do you tell everybody that
No,
you interview? Oh, okay.
No.
Okay.
no, I don't. So I'm nice in other ways.
Mhm.
So A, B, C, D, F. So we've covered distractions.
Yes.
Uh,
I don't know if we've covered it enough because it's pretty.
well,
big,
you can
but
come back for another interview. You can come back for another interview because I enjoy
if I'm
talking.
elected to the board, I will come back and we'll give you regular updated progress reports on how we're doing with that topic. How's that? Oh man, now
We
you're
just
making me
shook
shake.
hands. So that'd be great, because you know what? Pueblo matters.
It does.
So do you want to go to F, future, or C, competency, or just
You're
kidding.
changing my platform.
Yeah.
Competency is important. You know.
But let's not talk about that, because that's my platform.
Okay.
Competency
Okay. Okay.
in schools.
Well, you know, there's a couple different things we could talk about. Let me throw this out, and let me see where you think this should go. Okay. I think the general social trend and education, more specifically, we want to protect students from all the things that we think are not good. I think we underestimate students' potential, and we want to protect them. We want to make life easier for them. So we want to protect them from harm, and of course that could be physical harm, emotional harm, you know, whatever, from discomfort, from boredom. We want to make the educational experience safe, easy, fun. I don't think that should be our goal. I think that if you ask any person who's accomplished anything in life, they didn't do it by going after what's safe, easy, and fun. I think they took great risk, they did the hard thing, and they stuck to it even when it wasn't fun. But we don't want our kids to be bored. We don't want our kids to be uncomfortable. We don't want our kids to be at risk. And I understand, again, I am a parent. I understand the risk thing, but I think in some ways it's overblown in terms of what parents are worried about in terms of, you know, someone coming in and shooting up the school. Because we hear about it, and this is part of my media effects background and training, right?
Mm-hmm.
We hear about every single episode that happens anywhere in the world. No one is coming on the nightly news and saying, today in America, 75,000 school districts had class for 8 hours and there were no violent incidents. You
Right.
know, so we get this distorted idea of how much potential risk is out there. Even in a city like Pueblo, which has a bad rap of, you know, being more violence prone perhaps than another city our size. D70, fortunately, I think avoids some of that stigma that D60 has, but you know, D70 is close. So you know, and plus we have students from Pueblo that come out to Pueblo West, so and the county. But my point is, we need to let students be students, to rise to the challenge, to make their own tough decisions, to take some chances. You know, so what if they're bored for, you know, a little bit? There's great things that come out of boredom. Anyway, I think they need a chance to show us what they're made of. And I think we try to insulate them too much from those things that we think are not healthy. Now, you know, back to the safety thing for a second. We're worried about someone with a gun coming in and shooting up the school, but we're not worried about the fact that all of them are glued to their phones and turning into zombies. I mean, you know, what is the risk factor? Something that is almost, you know, 0.00001% chance of happening to something that is
Right.
evidently happening to most
Right.
of the students.
But maybe it isn't clear.
No, it's not.
And the way in computer science, what we like to say is for some definitions of safety,
Mm-hmm.
meaning there's all kinds of
Yes.
situations, and some definitions of safety are covered by this code, but not all.
Right.
And you're pointing out that the most dangerous one is kind of the future. It's who we're raising. I've thought that you shouldn't be allowed to purchase weapons
Mm-hmm.
until you're 25,
Mm-hmm.
and shouldn't be allowed to join the military until you're 25.
Mm.
Shouldn't be allowed to take out a student loan for college until you're 25.
When the prefrontal cortex has fully developed.
Well, I don't know if it's fully, but it's closer.
Close.
It's closer. And so, and you shouldn't be allowed to vote until you're 25.
Mm.
Now, recently I've had to update that to include can't have any surgery until you're 25. Now, what I mean, the reason I chose 25 is because for the military is because they'll be closer to finished growing their brain until when they get their PTSD. And military, same thing. They could be bipolar or early onset schizophrenia to show up when they're 21, 22 for the boys anyway. And student loans, they still don't know what they want to do. Maybe your children did. Mine didn't. And then not voting while they don't have a brain yet.
So I'm with you up to a point, and here's where I diverge. With the current de-evolved children that we are raising, what you're saying makes a lot of sense. But look back 200 years ago when our nation was... Do you know what those people did by the time they turned 22?
They were married.
Well,
they were starting families.
They
were farming.
They had... Some of them had multiple degrees and businesses and were starting governments. I mean... Look at what
there
the
were fewer books then,
did.
so they could do that.
But, but it's incredible. They were doing incredible things by their early 20s.
But the environment was there for them.
Yeah.
And so...
So what do we need to fix? Change all the years that kids can start participating? Or do we need to make it possible for that to happen again?
I don't know. It's a tough problem. But I think you're articulating the problem well. And you've got a few brainstormed ideas that we maybe haven't even gotten to yet that are could be applied. So you're going to have to work with your other school board members. Have you attended? How many meetings have you attended? If you would just say frequently or
no. I'll have to be honest and say that I have not been as involved as I probably should have been up to this point. And suddenly now I'm going to be very involved if I'm elected. But yeah, I made that presentation recently. I was involved in the sense of being a substitute teacher, but I haven't had a lot of engagement with.
So how does a board? This would be a question I'm sure you're asking. How does a board? Is it affect or effect? The affect the principals and superintendents and. Even further down, the teachers and vice principals and detention after school detentions, and so how does the board do that? What do you do? Do you know?
Well, we're supposed to direct. So I think policies that are going to be adopted have to be approved by the school board.
You have to word them carefully so you get.
I think so.
You get the effect that you want.
That's right.
Yeah. So.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Well. I think it's a very tough thing to do.
Well, and school boards have become hot button, contentious kind of things in the last. And again, this goes back to the B in my platform, balance. It could be for balanced budget, but it's really mainly for balance from the extremism that some of the partisanship has injected into everything that we do, including school boards. So should schools be partisan? No. In fact, this position I'm running for is specifically a nonpartisan position.
Yes.
And you know what's interesting?
No.
I went to open a bank account for this campaign.
Oh, no.
And the first bank I started at, which is where I have accounts, would not allow me to open a business account for a campaign because it's too political. I said, it's a nonpartisan position I'm running for. Well, it doesn't matter. Yeah, that's our policy. So I have a beef against that right off the bat because someone else is going to find out that my bank account is at such and such a place and they don't like my politics as a school board director. I'm sorry, but that seems
we do have this
crazy
issue in modern society, and that could be part of the distraction, is that we have tribalism.
Yes, we do.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
I went to the campaign event for Ted Hernandez, who's running for District 3.
Okay.
And he's a Democrat, and he's only got a Democrat opponent. There's no Republican. But I'm a Republican, and I'm registered as a Republican. I disagree with them a lot, as you can imagine. But I went there, and I am telling you, I really felt animosity from the crowd. And there were many people who were just looking at me. You couldn't see I was pointing my fingers at my face.
Because they knew?
They know me.
Okay. Interesting.
And yes.
Well, see, until you told me that just 5 seconds ago, I had no clue. Maybe
Right.
I'm out of touch.
But the activists have a clue.
Okay.
And so the problem that we have, I think, in the country, is that we have activists who are wagging the very tip of the
Yes.
dog's tail, right? And they are making the narratives that everyone else reads on their phones,
Right.
and kids read, and so on.
Yeah.
If they're at all interested in the future.
Right.
So, anyway, we're winding down. We have 3 more minutes here, and I want to make sure that you get to say anything you want. You have this whole paper which we haven't even looked at.
Well, you know what? This is actually for where I'm going from here. I'm actually going to go
Okay.
pitch realtors. I have no idea why realtors want to know what school board directors.
Well, they
wanna
want to
do.
endorse you or someone else. That's what they want.
I know this.
I've been invited and I haven't really responded. That's how less my campaign is than yours.
Well, realtors, I guess, care about strengths of schools as they should because it affects house prices, right?
Yes.
The better the school district, the higher the prices for the houses. So that makes sense. So I guess they want to know what my platform is to know can they endorse me or whoever.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm headed, and that's what this sheet of paper's for. So I don't know if it's going to be as fun, Dave, as talking to you. It's been fun
Right.
having this.
Do we want to talk
conversation.
about the A in academic?
You know, I think that's such an obvious. You know,
Okay.
that the fact that it's the most important thing, academic achievement, because that's what schools are for. They're not daycare for teenagers. They're about learning, and if we're not teaching, and if students aren't learning, we need to go back and reevaluate what we're doing because that's
But do you think the academics is the only goal? See, I think competency is
not
the goal.
not only no. So, and I make this point when I talk about achievement, academic achievement, I'm talking about it in the broadest possible terms. So yes, academics is the easiest to measure, standardized tests, whatever, and people don't like standardized tests, I get that, but it's something. But no, creativity, emotional, social development. I mean, those are all competencies that need to be developed, and students need to achieve them to be a productive and useful adult in society. I said
Cool.
useful. That wasn't a very good word to be a functioning member of their community. They need a lot more than just academic achievement. They need the whole thing.
Well, one of the things that I definitely want is I want there to be baristas that will serve me good coffee.
and know how to
and-
speak intelligently
And
to you when they serve
speaking
you.
intelligent, yes, while they're doing it. Yes.
Yeah.
So
And respectful. I mean, we want the whole.
yes,
Yeah.
you're right. So again, it's Sam Ebersole, candidate for District 70 School Board. You'll
And just
find
so
him on the
everyone
ballot.
knows, I'm only running in District 3, but anyone in D70 can vote for the 3 candidates that are, or the 3 districts, sub-districts that are up for election this year, 3, 4, and 5. So they will see 2 candidates for 3. I think they see 3 candidates for 4 and 2 candidates for 5, and they have to choose one.
And so
for
one of the
each.
districts covers Rye
Oh, yeah.
and Rye High School.
Yes.
Have you been down there?
I have not been down there, no. I mean, you mean recently? No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I hope you do get down
Yeah.
there.
No, I love our
Because
mountain
they're
communities.
District 70
Beulah,
too.
Rye, absolutely.
Yeah, right.
The county. So the fact that D70 divides up its territory into 5 sub-districts is different than 60. 60, all the candidates run together and the top 3 vote getters
Is that
are
how it
however many
works? Yeah.
positions. Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, Sam, but we have to close down so that we fit it into the hour of our low power radio station here. And so again, it's KOIC 98.5 FM low power. Give us a call when you get a chance. 719-404-3750. Bye, Sam. It's been great, Dave. Thank you.